All right, everyone, welcome. It is Matrix Live. Now, I want to tell you something, because in the before times when we used to go to music festivals, perhaps we went to music festivals, the best slot, or one of the best slots, was just when the sun was setting and the band would come out on the stage at that moment. They'd start the show in bright sunshine and they'd finish in the sort of twilight. And that's exactly what's going on in London right now. You can't see the light here, but the very streets are emanating with promise and excitement of what's to come. And that's exactly what's about to come, because we have a wonderful lineup for you. Michael is going to give us a whole tour of three different cool things going on in Element. I'm not even going to tell you what they are, but he's going to talk you through it. Hubert's going to talk about his Polyjuice client, which I think he's demoed here before, and I haven't seen what he's done since, so this is going to be super cool. Bruno's going to talk about session backups, and Rich is going to talk about very, very early faster room join work that he's been working on. So, Michael, are you ready?
Yep. Thanks for the introduction. I'm going to start with introducing one of the exciting new projects that we've got launching soon, which is Message Bubbles. So you might be familiar with the old layout of Element and how you see all the chats, which is everything is left aligned, and it looks very sort of difficult to follow from a perspective of personal chats and like small group chats. If you're more used to the likes of like WhatsApp and iMessage, you might be accustomed to like Bubbles, where like your message is on the right and other people's messages on the left. So that's exactly what we've gone and implemented. So in settings under appearance, you'll be able to select message bubbles, and then everything will reposition itself to be left and right aligned respectively. There's some other like little visual tweaks just to match that style a little better, but fundamentally you can have that sort of experience, which makes the chats feel a lot more personal, and you can very quickly figure out which messages are yours because they're a slightly different color and they're aligned to the other side of the screen. And yeah, well, this probably won't work as well for like huge group chats because obviously these message bubbles are kind of like space constrained to an extent. For like smaller chats and definitely for DMs, this feels a lot more personal and just looks really nice. So that was just a quick demo of Message Bubbles, which should be in the next release coming out next week.
Very nice. This is you're demoing on web, but this is a cross-client.
Yeah, so across mobile platforms, I think it'll be a little bit more delayed, maybe 2 more weeks or maybe 4 more weeks or so, but it's definitely coming soon as well.
All right, thank you. What's next?
So next, I'm going to give a little demo of the new search experience, which we're currently calling Unified Search. So previously, if you click this filter icon and it's a filtered bar, sorry, in the top left, you'll be filtering this left panel. Nowadays, though, if you click it, you'll have a little modal pop up, and you can search in here. So I can like search for like Matrix HQ, and I can like use my arrow keys to move up and down, select the room, go to it. The little prompt at the top also says I can use Command Q or Control Q on a other computer to jump to this quick switcher effectively. So right now it only lets you search the rooms and spaces that you're joined to, but in the future we'll also expand it to searching messages. And it's basically going to be like this central search experience where you can find whatever you're looking for in one place, rather than you having to, either click on, or even is it like join public room or search top right. All of these different searches are eventually going to be brought into one under this sort of centralized search umbrella, which we're calling Unified Search. We're hoping to launch this as a beta in a few weeks so that you'll be able to opt into it and play about with it. It also has like your recently viewed, which is also known as breadcrumbs to some people, so the rooms that you've recently switched to. Also remembers your recent searches and has little shortcuts for other things, like I'm searching for like someone called Bob and I don't have someone called Bob, I can jump to people and then find some, the person that I'm looking for. But it's going to be the home of your quick navigation around the app, basically. It may also have other features such as like jumping to specific settings as well, just to basically make your navigation around the app just so much quicker.
For what it's worth, I found since trialing this, my use of the mouse to navigate Element has just dropped off dramatically. It's just so much nicer experience. So just for one anecdata point, I'm a big fan.
All right, and then for the last thing I've got to demo, it's we're calling it pre-built spaces. So if you're familiar with spaces, or even not, I guess I'll give a quick introduction. It is basically a way to group people and rooms together. So on the left, I've got a bunch of spaces uh, like my testing space here. Just got a bunch of rooms, got a suggested room, got some people in it. But there's no way previously to have like a quick way to access all of my favorites. We have now added this, and it'll be in the next release. It's going to be in settings, and the sidebar you'll be able to select from some pre-built spaces, such as favorites, people, and other rooms, which is basically just rooms that are not in a space. And this just offers you a really quick way just to get at your favorites and people. Because previously, if you're like relying on home, it's a much like messier sort of environment because it's a mixture of different things. Like this has like favorites, people, invites, and other rooms in it. But like here, I can just quickly narrow down favorites, pick the favorite, and just go and type, and just lets me again quickly navigate to what I need. Just sort of adds on to the experience of spaces where you can sort of like isolate to exactly and narrow down and drill down to exactly what you want to find, what you want to sort of contextualize this with. It's like right now, if I want to be doing like element stuff, I might look at the element space. But then if I want to be doing just my favorites, I can switch to that. But yeah, these are all opt-in, so by default, all of these will just be off. And you'll be able to just go into settings, sidebar, and enable the ones that you wish to apply for yourself. I think that's it.
Very nice. And just for context, for those that don't know, that the last two things that Michael showed there, the pre-built spaces and the unified search, this is all part of a much broader project to try and improve how you navigate through Element and how you find stuff, how you keep track of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of initiatives in flight, and some are landing right now, and some are going to continue to land. But the idea is that over the next couple of months, Element just gets easier and easier to navigate and to find things. And that can only be a good thing, right? All right, well, thank you. Okay, Hubert, are you out there?
All right, can you see my screen? It should have
Yes.
2 browser windows. Right, so Polyjuice is sort of a blanket name I've been using for basically my effort to implement as much of the matrix spec as I feel like implementing in Elixir. And so a few months ago, I started a new project called Polyjuice Client Test, which is an effort to build a testing framework for clients. So it started off with spare time project, but in the last month or so, I've started working on it during work hours as well, just to because it turned out to be useful for what we're doing in the crypto team. So yeah, it's my contribution to our growing set of testing tools, and it's intended to be able to be used with basically any client. So as you can see, it has really terrible UI. This is why they keep me away from any user-facing stuff. But so you can create a new test. Right now, I only have 3 tests written, but I'm hoping to grow that, obviously. So I'm going to select the cross-signing with Quad S test. So on the right here, I have just normal app.element.io. The test tells me to log in with that user. So as you can see, it's basically spun up a brand new home server just for this test. And this home server is actually a new one written in Elixir based on my Polyjuice server library. And it's specifically made for testing. Let's see. But the idea here is that it's a brand new home server that's clean and doesn't have anything else except for what would be needed for the test. So I sign in, So what this test is supposed to test is that I can log in with a client, I can unlock Quad S, and the client will use the information in Quad S to cross-sign its own device key. So it says to unlock Quad S. So one thing you might have noticed there is that once I logged in, then because it's a custom home server and I can customize what it does, then it detected that I logged in and then it showed me the next step to do. So that's a sort of handy feature. And then so I type in the key, it says it looks good, and continue. And then you might have seen briefly a flash there that said it was successfully verified. And then what happened there is that once the test passes, then it tears down the home server, logs out everyone, and then so that's why it says that the session has been signed out. So that's normal that it signs you out. But as you can see, it says the test passed. So yeah, so I'm planning on a whole bunch of different tests. Because I'm writing a new home server from scratch, it's taking a bit of time to get all the features implemented. But I have 2 device messages, I have account data, I have key backup. The next thing I'm working on is room messages, so that I can write a test for the next test I want to write is symmetric key backup, because right now with symmetric key backup, Element Web can use it if it's there, but it won't create it. So in order to test it, it's a bit difficult you need to jump through hoops to figure out how to create backup in the first place. So with this, I'll just be able to run a new test case, and then it'll set up everything I need for symmetric backup, and then we can test it on different clients.
So Hubert, will you be able to run this against arbitrary home servers? Like, is it using APIs to like Matrix APIs to populate, or how does this work?
So it is. It has a test script written in Elixir that's part of the thing, and it basically has a set of instructions for what to do, and it's all running against a home server written in Elixir, so it can access the internals of the home server if it needs to. So, like for example, for testing fallback keys, normally if you want to test fallback keys, you would have to drain all the devices one-time keys first until you get to the fallback key. But with this, you can just tell the server, okay, that the fallback key is now used. Tell the user that it's been used without having to go through the hassle of draining all the keys first.
Okay, I see. All right. Well, thank you very much. Hubert, session backups in Hydrogen.
Yeah, hello. Let me just share my screen. So this is Hydrogen. This is not yet released, so I'm running from a local branch. But I've been working on implementing writing to the key backup. And key backup, just a short reminder, is when you talk in end-to-end encrypted rooms, you'll be exchanging. Other people will send you their encryption keys, and you'll be sending encryption keys to other people. And yeah, to be able to decrypt the room, you need those keys. Now, if you log into a new session or a new device, if you don't have those keys from before you logged in, you'll see a wall of undecryptable messages, and that's where key backup comes in. We encrypt the keys, and then we store them on the server. I get a message that video is lost. Anyway, so I've been before Hydrogen already supported reading from key backup, but now I've worked on also backing up keys that Hydrogen receives. So I've got a fresh account here. If I go to an encrypted room, you see all the messages don't decrypt. I'm gonna write here, why can't I decrypt? Maybe enable key backup. So those send. Now, if I enable key backup, Hydrogen, this is the same as before. So you see the key that I just used to send the messages, it will immediately back that up once you've enabled key backup. And now it says all keys are backed up. So if I go back to the room now, you see all the messages decrypt now. So let me just send some messages into that room. Right, and I'll see if I force another message. Once keys come in, it will immediately back them up here with a slight delay to not overload the system. So that seems to be working. Yeah, there it is. All the keys are backed up. Now, if I log out, so I've got on this account, I've got no other client that could be backing up running. So if I log out and I log back in, then we will see all the messages from before logging in now decrypt. So I hope initial sync doesn't take too long. So yeah, this I hope to release this next week. It's working, but still needs a bit of polishing. Oh, I actually need to enter my key. There we go. And there we go. All the crypts. That was that. Any questions?
Woohoo! Super cool. Bruno, I just called you Hubert, which is a fine name, but not your name. So sorry about that.
No worries.
All right, Rich is up next. I had to twist Rich's arm to demo this. I know we're running over time, but this is, I think, going to be quite a short one. But Rich, tell us what you're doing and take the floor.
Right, so yeah, I've been spending a bit of time working on trying to make room joins a bit faster. Let me share my screen. Up one. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Okay, no live demo today. I'm too much of a coward for that, and also the setup for these things takes ages. But what I've done here is I've set up a testing server with a whole bunch of anonymized data with some big rooms in. And this is kind of the existing situation. If I try and join this room, I'll just start this video. And anyone who's ever joined a big room in Matrix knows that it takes ages to join, and it sits there and spins, and it spins, and it spins. And if you're really lucky, eventually it'll load. More often than not, it eventually comes up with an error. And a few days later, you might actually get into the room. Okay, so that took about 20 seconds to join. And I can write some messages like that now. Okay, so that's the current situation. Just like that video finished playing out. Oh, it's, yeah, populating messages, history. That took another 20 seconds or so to load. Okay, and so if I now play this other one, which is the work, which shows the work I've been doing. So the idea here, so let me explain first of all, what takes the time is that when you join a room, it has to download all the state in the room. And that can be quite a lot of state for a large room. So for all the users that have ever joined or left, It's quite a lot of data to transfer and persist. And so our thinking is that we don't need to transfer all that data as soon as you join. We can instead load it in the background once you've actually joined. And so this is just a demo of my work in progress of where I've got to so far. So same room, slightly different configuration on the server that's joining to enable its lazy loading. And I do the same thing again, start it off, click the button, spins, it spins. Still takes a bit of time. And there we go, it's joined the room. If I show the members panel, that's also loading in the background. That shows us the loading state. I can send messages, and the state is populated, and there's still a bit of work to do to populate the history. So yeah, that's it really. It takes 20 seconds or so to populate history still. We've got some ideas for how to improve that as well. That's it.
All right, thanks, Rich. And you'll hate me for saying it, but just to make it a bit more concrete, the sort of theoretical idea we're going for is if you try and join, say, a big room like Matrix HQ with a regularly resourced server, can you make that happen in under a second? Which is a fairly scary thing to do. And currently, with the sort of servers we're thinking about, it's a multi-minutes, maybe 10-minute plus kind of thing. So that's the sort of ambition of the project. It's super exciting. And thanks, Rich, for showing where you've got so far. All right, that's a lot. Those of you who were paying attention, you'll see that it's getting darker out here. I was being totally legit on the sun situation. So whatever time zone you're watching this in, whatever part of the world, if it is evening, have a super fantastic, great evening.